Allied countries may send up to 20,000 peacekeepers to Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. According to this was reported by Radio Liberty, citing data from European officials. The main contingent of peacekeepers to Ukraine will be sent by the United Kingdom and France. These countries will be responsible for ground and air security. At the same time, Turkey is ready to take responsibility for the security of transport routes in the Black Sea. The article reports.
Some officials say that different numbers for the size of the contingent are being discussed in various European capitals. They range from 15 to 20,000. Although some hope that the number will be closer to 30,000 peacekeepers, who will ensure the security of the sea, sky, and land.
At present, no military plans have been made public. In addition, it is unknown how far the potential peacekeeping forces will be from the line of contact. French President Emmanuel Macron stated that he hopes to present concrete security commitments for Ukraine during the meeting of the Coalition of Willing Countries in Paris, following negotiations. According to him, in the event of a ceasefire, there must be clarity regarding the composition and deployment of peacekeeping forces. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic Integration Taras Kachka spoke about security guarantees in the peace plan. He noted that according to the fifth point of the agreement, the US, NATO and the European signatory states will provide Ukraine with security guarantees that will reflect Article 5 of the North Atlantic Alliance. According to Taras Kachka, this article is a fundamental geopolitical agreement on how states assist each other in the event of aggression. As is known, on January 6th, representatives of 30 countries from the Coalition of the Willing will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to finalize the peace agreement to end the war in Ukraine.
European leaders and American officials are striving to finalize a security guarantees agreement that includes the possibility of American troops being present on Ukrainian territory. According to Bloomberg, citing sources, the talks in Paris will focus on how to integrate the capabilities recently proposed by Washington with the plans developed by the Coalition of Willing Countries. The meeting will be hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron. The United States will be represented by President Donald Trump's envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. The U.S. is also prepared to assist in monitoring the ceasefire, including by providing intelligence information, sources said. Drones and satellites will be used to detect violations. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, following a meeting with national security advisors from the Coalition of Willing States, stated that work on security guarantees, Ukraine's recovery, and a step-by-step action plan to achieve peace had been accelerated. He said that Ukraine expects the work on the relevant documents to be completed by the end of January. At the same time, the New York Times reports that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is losing optimism about peace. The Ukrainian leader's assessments regarding the prospects for peace talks with Russia have become significantly more cautious amid ongoing consultations between Ukraine, the US, and Europe. According to the publication, Kyiv is increasingly preparing for a scenario in which Moscow refuses any agreements. Despite the fact that not long ago Zelensky stated that a peace agreement was 90% ready, he now says that progress has essentially stalled and Russia's position remains unclear. According to President Zelensky,
there are two paths. The first is to end the war. The second is to prepare for negative actions from Russia.
During the meeting of the Coalition of Willing Countries, Ukraine's allies will aim to define as precisely as possible their contributions to future security guarantees for Kyiv in the event of a ceasefire with Russia, Reuters reports, citing diplomats and officials. During the meeting of the Coalition of Willing Countries, Ukraine's allies are striving to define as precisely as possible their contributions to future security guarantees for Kyiv in the event of a ceasefire with Russia, Reuters reports, citing diplomats and officials. As the agency notes, the goal of the meeting is to form a common position for Ukraine, Europe, and the United States, which can then be presented to Russia. Trump's team assessed the possibility of a military takeover of Greenland. Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller stated that Greenland should belong to the United States, without directly ruling out the option of a military takeover of the island.
The official position of the United States is that Greenland should be part of our collective security apparatus. This has been the official position of the U.S. government since the beginning of this administration. The president has been very clear on this matter.
Miller avoided answering the host's direct question about the possibility of deploying troops, stating, however, that no one would go to war with the United States militarily over the future of Greenland. Miller also questioned Denmark's claims to the island.
The main question is, on what grounds does Denmark claim control over Greenland,
On what grounds does it make its territorial claims? On what basis does Denmark consider Greenland its colony?
Politico predicts that Washington may try to take advantage of a politically opportune moment in the coming months to gain control over Greenland. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen stated that a possible U.S. attack on Greenland would mean the end of NATO. She called for the words of the head of the White House to be taken seriously. At the same time, the U.S. State Department published a message to Russia on its Russian-language account on X. Don't play games with President Trump. President Trump is a man of action. Didn't know? Now you do, the message said. Notably, the post was published a few days after American intelligence services evacuated President Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela as part of a military operation. In addition, Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth mocked the effectiveness of Russian weaponry in Venezuela. He noted that nearly 200 American soldiers carried out a raid in Caracas and added that it seems the Russian air defense systems did not perform very well.
In Russia, during the night of January 6th, drones attacked several regions. Explosions were reported in the Lipetsk region, Bashkortostan, Tver, and Penza. According to Russian monitoring channels, after the drone attack in the Lipetsk region, the Usmanskaya oil depot, located in the village of Streletsky Khutora, caught fire. The regional authorities have not yet reported the extent of the damage. The governor confirmed the fire at an industrial facility without naming it. After the drone crashed, a fire broke out at an industrial facility in the Usman district. According to preliminary information, there are no casualties or injuries, the regional head wrote. Explosions were also heard in the city of Sterlitamak.
Four?
Just
Four.
yes.
There.
Looks like all hit. I think so.
Local residents are posting videos and reporting a series of loud noises in different parts of the city. According to them, the explosions continued for several hours. There is a large enterprise in the city, the Sterlitamak petrochemical plant, which has previously been attacked by drones. There were also explosions in Tver. Shortly before that, the region had issued a warning about the operation of electronic warfare systems. The acting governor reported that a UAV fragment hit a house. One resident was killed and 2 others were injured. According to Astra, the likely target of the attack may have been the Tver carriage works. It is located 1 kilometer from the damaged residential building. There were also explosions in Penza.
There was this kind of fiery ball in the sky, probably like this.
The local airport was closed for departures and arrivals. In Penza, the biosynthesis plant was reportedly attacked. However, as of the time of publication, there was no official confirmation. Biosynthesis is one of the largest pharmaceutical manufacturers in the Russian market. The Ministry of Defense of the aggressor country claimed that overnight they allegedly shot down 129 Ukrainian UAVs over the Russian Federation and the temporarily occupied Crimea.
Residents of the Armenian capital, Yerevan, took part in a march that had previously been announced by Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. The leadership of Armenia was present at the event. Its goal is the removal of the head of the Armenian Apostolic Church and its reformation. Back in June of last year, Nikol Pashinyan accused the highest spiritual leader of the Armenian Apostolic Church, Patriarch Nersisyan, of violating his vow of celibacy, claiming that he allegedly has a child and therefore cannot serve as the Supreme Patriarch. The Armenian Prime Minister has repeatedly returned to this issue.
My position cannot be changed due to any circumstances. Patriarch Nersisyan must leave the residence.
The confrontation between the Armenian authorities and the Armenian Apostolic Church intensified after Nikol Pashinyan's harsh statements towards the clergy and his initiative to change the procedure for electing the Catholicos, which would give the state a key role. In addition, the heads of 3 dioceses were arrested on various charges. Pashinyan himself stated during the march that the Armenian Apostolic Church is being used as a tool for actions against Armenia. Pashinyan said,
We have found ourselves in a situation where certain forces are trying to use our native, our sacred, our Apostolic Church as a foothold for actions against the Republic of Armenia. And I, as the Prime Minister of Armenia, declare that we will not allow this.
The Supreme Church Council of the Armenian Apostolic Church denies the accusations and calls Pashinyan's statements a shameful anti-church campaign. The head of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov, has appointed his son Akhmat as acting deputy prime minister of the Chechen Republic. He announced this on his Telegram channel. Kadyrov stated that Magomed Daudov has been appointed as Prime Minister of Chechnya, while his 20-year-old son Akhmat Kadyrov will serve as his deputy. At the same time, Kadyrov's son will also remain in his position as Minister of Sports. The appointment of his son to the new post may be related to Ramzan Kadyrov's poor health. Earlier, Novaya Gazeta Europe reported that the head of Chechnya was urgently hospitalized in Moscow on the night of December 24th to 25th. According to the publication's source, Kadyrov arrived in the Russian capital for a state council meeting chaired by Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. But the Chechen leader's health suddenly deteriorated, and he was taken to the Central Clinical Hospital of the Presidential Administration of the Russian Federation. As the publication wrote,
regarding Kadyrov's condition, our source in the Chechen leader's inner circle said that in Moscow, they barely managed to revive him, after which he returned home and has not appeared in public since.
However, as early as January 2nd, Kadyrov denied reports of his hospitalization and called them rumors. The Chechen Minister for National Policy, Ahmed Dudayev, published a joint video with the Chechen leader in which Kadyrov stated that he has no health problems.
My health is excellent, my spirits are high. Yes or no?
Just now, yes, I had a meal. Now in half an hour to an hour, I think I'll work out, yes.
However, soon the media noticed that Kadyrov appeared in public with a cane. On January 3rd, the Chechen leader attended the opening of a Hafiz school and posted the corresponding video on his Telegram channel. In the footage, it is clear that Ramzan Kadyrov is walking with the help of a cane. Kadyrov himself has repeatedly stated that he is tired of being in power. At the same time, he is ready to take part in the elections if Putin suggests it to him.